Hi everybody, this is Scarlett. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a very interesting topic that isn't discussed too much, or at least not in the most helpful way, and that is talking about black magic, evil eye, and demonic and psychic attacks. So we live in a world right now. Technically, in Tantra, we live in the Kali Yuga, which is like the fallen age, the iron age, and we live in a world where there's a lot of negative energy going around. There's a lot of energy vampires, there's a lot of people who just have bad intentions, there's a lot of energy that people, especially on the spiritual path, might find themselves needing to protect themselves from, or they might feel under attack and need to purge themselves of these energies. So I put together a great video for you guys to explain what actually works, why do people get attacked, and how do you liberate yourself from these energies. Let's talk first about black magic. What is black magic? Black magic is the attempt to use energy or a entity or demonic creature to influence someone else's free will. And it can be done through ritual or even just through negative thought projections. But the point is, it's a negative energy that attempts to overcome your free will, your power, and inflict harm or negativity upon you. Black magic can be done consciously by force, so somebody doing a love spell or a domination spell, something to overtake your mind, a misfortune spell, something that just sends you bad energy, bad vibes to wreak havoc in your life. Those are examples of black magic that's done consciously, and then sometimes black magic can be done unconsciously, just through someone's hatred, negativity, or jealousy being projected at you. So this can look like if you're in an emotionally abusive household and you have people constantly calling you names, telling you you're ugly, telling you you're fat, putting you down, telling you you're never going to amount to something. Those amount to word curses. So it's a form of black magic. It's something where someone's negativity is influencing your beliefs, your aura, your energy, and can have a negative effect on you. The other type of negative energy that a lot of people know about is the evil eye. And the evil eye is typically inflicted through jealousy, envy, coveting what someone else has. And this is conscious or unconscious. So someone can give the evil eye unconsciously through feeling jealous energy and kind of unconsciously hating that person for what they have, or it could be just unconsciously projecting thoughts of why do they deserve that, I deserve it. And sometimes it could be more malicious, just like sending energy where someone actually puts those thoughts forward, like they don't deserve that, you know, rich people are bad, or why does this person get that and I don't, I deserve it. And that kind of negativity can amount to the evil eye, which actually sends negative projections that can harm the other person. And then of course we have those demonic attacks. So those can be demons that someone actually creates an agreement with, a spiritual contract with, that they actually send to someone to wreak havoc. And the way this is done is someone who practices black magic might make a contract with a demon that, you know, I'm going to send you to this person. And sometimes it's done by force, where the person kind of employs the demon against its will and forces it to do its bidding through this egoic kind of dominance, like I'm your master, go wreak havoc, go hurt this person. And sometimes it's done through certain trades or agreements, like do this and I will feed you this offering, I'll give you alcohol, tobacco, whatever that entity or demon likes. On the more sinister end of offerings to demons and dark entities, we have blood sacrifices, animal sacrifices. And if you remember reading about these things in history, about all these animal sacrifices, remember I said We live in the Kali Yuga. We're just coming out of very dark ages and normalized insanity. And all these things, of course, accrue a karmic debt. It's really just like if you borrow money on a credit card, you know, it's not like divine energy, it's not free will energy, it's creating a karmic debt, a karmic agreement that the person takes on when they contract that demon. So demons could be anything from elementals, beings from other dimensions, they could be low-level demons, they could be high-level demons, they could be disembodied spirits, they could be animal, they could be human, they could be certain spirits that are studied in different traditions that are known as hungry ghosts. Hungry ghosts are a very fascinating type of demonic creature that is talked about in Tantric Buddhism as well as many other traditions. Hinduism, Jainism, and many different cultures acknowledge these hell-like beings. They aren't only in the hell realms though, as they are said to inhabit the world of the living. And what they usually have in common in all the different depictions is that they have a really, really tiny mouth and a needle-like throat, but really large, overly inflated stomachs. And this symbolizes the insatiable desire that cannot be fulfilled. So usually what they do is they will haunt or try to possess beings that have the same obsessions that caused them to commit bad deeds while they were alive in previous lives. So they can be overly obsessed with money or with different types of substances, types of alcohol or drugs. They could be obsessed with feeding on different types of emotion like fear or anger. They're usually depicted to be very angry and very full of desire, so very negative emotional traits. Hungry ghosts are often talked about in the context of serving as a lesson of what can happen to us when we allow desire to take over, because the nature of desire is that it can never be fulfilled. It just begets more and more desire, even to the point of this type of very unfortunate, tormented living. They can be spiritual parasites. And it's important to know that demons are not only sent through black magic, they can be present in negative environments. So like I said, the negative family households, they could be in bars where there's alcohol and these types of spirits that attract negative energy. They could be anywhere where people are consistently doing drugs, or just anywhere where there's a buildup of negative energy. So it could be in an abandoned, haunted place, like somewhere where a lot of negativity happened, like those abandoned hospitals or insane asylums. They could be just hanging out in dark vortexes, places where negativity has taken place, and it attracts these negative entities, these negative forms of energy. Sometimes demons can be transferred from one person to another through close intimacy. They could be transferred sexually, they could be transferred through touch, through an energy healing with someone who's not super pure. They could also come internally through making bad choices. So they could come from negative foods, like eating pork, which is one of the most low vibrational, parasite, demonic infested foods. Someone who used to do a lot of methamphetamine, stuff like that. So they could be self-caused or picked up through the environment or transferred from person to person. So what do you do if you think you have black magic, demons, or evil eye harming you and harming your life? Number one is you have to recognize the symptoms. So it could be really confusing to figure out if you actually have something going on. We live in a society that does not acknowledge things that are not tangible and physical, but we live in an energetic universe, and sooner or later there is going to be more merit and validation given to these energies and these consciousness. But for now, it's going to take a high degree of self-awareness to recognize and have the courage to admit that there's something going on, that something is not right that's happening. So what are some typical symptoms that you're under attack or that there's negative entities in your life? One of the biggest things is you will notice a lot of negative thinking. So almost like your thoughts are uncontrollable, and you might be thinking, well, a lot of people have negative thoughts, and in reality a lot of people have parasites and entities, and it's not like everyone who's possessed is like the exorcism of Emily Rose and they're just freaking out and having seizures. They could be very subtle or they could be really intense, but the main thing is if you feel like something has shifted suddenly in your life and all of a sudden you find yourself ruminating about a specific person or just thinking bizarre thoughts, thinking low vibrational thoughts, thinking very depressed or thinking very angry, or just thoughts that suddenly have come into your life that shift you to a different frequency that you know is not the true you, that could definitely be a sign of entities or interference or black magic. You might also be feeling negative emotions. So if you feel like all of a sudden your zest for life has kind of been dimmed, or you feel just energetically low, drained, you just don't feel the same, or you have these angry or hateful type of energies going on in you, just energy that's not the true self. And the true self is peace, it's calm, it's just gentle awareness and presence. So dark energies, negative energies cause inner turmoil. You might be feeling certain feelings of depersonalization or derealization. So sometimes this feels like you're not really in your body. You don't feel grounded in your skin. You might feel almost like you're a little bit outside of your body, or you might look in the mirror and feel like you don't recognize yourself, or you don't feel embodied. Something feels like almost like your spirit has shifted places in your physical vessel. Other symptoms of these negative energies are drastic changes and sudden changes in your life circumstances. So you might suddenly have really bad luck in your business. You just start losing a bunch of clients. You might start attracting negative luck. So maybe somebody that usually never got any tickets or had any car issues suddenly just starts having these weird issues, or things in your house just start breaking down. Basically, it's the energy of destruction that is seeping into your life in a way that feels atypical. And again, this is very nuanced, it's very subtle because life has challenges and different things happen, but if you really meditate on it and feel into it intuitively, something in your gut might be telling you this isn't normal, and it's really a drastic change in routine and feels like an energetic interference. On the more drastic side, some people might begin to develop health issues or illnesses, and sometimes it might feel very tangible and uncomfortable, like certain types of sexual energies or intrusions, or just feelings of presences. So you might be in a room and just feel like a dark presence or energy, or just like there's dark clouds around your environment. So if you have any of these negative things happening, there's a chance that there's some type of energetic interference by entities, some type of magic targeted at you, or just something that you have done in your life that has invited these negative energies. And once you recognize it, you can begin to take steps to remedy it. So how do you get rid of these spells, these entities, and these negative energies when you recognize that something's going on? Number one, and what everything else leads back to for getting these energies out of your life, is awareness. So awareness is the master key in the spiritual path. Awareness is you seeing what's going on, having inner wisdom, inner vision, seeing with awareness, seeing with clarity, and having an inner standing. So awareness is like the light that scatters all darkness, and spells and demons, all these things, they're forms of darkness. So your awareness, the light of your awareness, is your artillery, it's your weapon, it's your main form of defense. It's really your everything in life. Your awareness is your protection. It's your safety. It's your having a good life experience. The degree to which you have awareness is the degree to which you do not have to suffer. Here's something that a lot of people might be aware of or might not be aware of that really helps in an empowered way to get beyond these types of energies. And that is recognizing what in yourself is the like vibration or the legal right that the energy has to come into you. So let's say, for example, someone is being tormented by demons or spirits that are instilling a lot of fear. Whatever they are targeting, that fear has some sort of existence that was pre-existing within your spirit, within your being, that they are able to sense and feed on. So even though it might feel like unnatural or random or unfair that it's happening, your defense against it happening is recognizing with awareness and uprooting the food of that energy or that entity. So if the demon, for example, is feeding on your fear of trusting people, let's say you have some type of experience where you're finding yourself agoraphobic, or you don't want to go out, or you don't want to socialize. That demon may be feeding on a pre-existing trauma where your trust was betrayed, or where you did not feel safe around others. So whatever it is, it's just an example, but whatever it is, when you sit in meditative awareness, you'll be able to recognize, and it might not be obvious at first, but this is kind of the spiritual challenge that these beings and these energies drive you towards, is to recognize what is their food, how do you take it out, and how do you transcend and go beyond the lesson. Another thing is recognizing unconscious behavior in yourself that's a vibrational match to what you're experiencing. So let's say you feel like you're constantly receiving the evil eye. People are constantly jealous of you. You buy something nice and then maybe it breaks down, or you feel like people look at you and something goes wrong with what you have, or with your looks or whatever. It could be that on some unconscious level you're carrying the same energy. So maybe you don't see yourself as someone who is jealous or envious, but within the unconscious there might be very subtle behaviors that match what is happening to you, and the universe is using these entities, these energies, to bring that up to the surface for your awareness. So it takes radical honesty to sit with yourself and examine and see what might you be doing that mirrors that behavior. And by quantum law, if you have nothing that matches that, there's no way it can stick to you. So we live in an electromagnetic universe, and everything we're experiencing has polarity happening to it. There's a North Pole, South Pole. So if there's no end of your magnet that matches what's happening to you, it's literally, metaphysically, physically impossible for anything to affect you like that. So everything in this world is mental. It's all mind projection. The degree to which you take accountability and become a sovereign is the degree to which you can overcome these energies. So it can be really tempting to be in that victimized role, but I highly suggest to empower yourself, allow the negative experience to be alchemized from a curse into a blessing by using it to shine your light, empower your light so that you ascend past those lessons. It's also important to use it to take accountability, to really examine your actions as well. Are you eating substances that maybe you shouldn't eat? Maybe your consciousness could tolerate eating meat and pork and things like that before, but something in your being is telling you that you're evolving past that now. Maybe you have been smoking a little bit too much cannabis, and sometimes those energies, the energies of addiction, even though socially accepted and seemingly benign, are food for demons or parasites, because parasites and demons are almost like the recycling creatures of our reality. So where there's excess or attachment or negativity, they're like the cleaning agents. So if there's dirt or something that's rotting, there's maggots that come to clean it. So if there's something in your being that's expired, that's no longer matching what your soul wants to be, these parasites can come in to help you clean out, to level up in your life. So number 2 is you want to call on the assistance of higher powers, your higher power. So whatever your religion is, if you are Christian, it can be very powerful to plead the blood of Jesus, the blood of Christ. There's a strong energy in that divine sacrifice of Christ, the whole crucifixion, the energy of blood of someone who embodies pureness, divinity, sacrificing for the sins of humanity. So there's a high vibration, high energy to that blood. Certain things calibrate on certain levels, and one of the highest ones is actually that blood of Jesus, blood of Christ. I think can be a very protective energy. So if you're Christian, if you're just spiritual or Buddhist or any other religion, you will have a certain affinity to the being, to the saint, to certain things, and through the spiritual process, through the dark night of the soul, they will begin to make themselves known to you, or you will begin to develop your relationship with them. And there's a certain humility that's required, because sometimes the ego can be like, I don't need anyone, I don't need anything, I got this by myself. But if you have people who are employing and using entities, low-level entities or high-level entities against you, then you need allies on your side too. It could be spiritual warfare going on, so you want to have as much assistance as you need. There's one particular Buddhist saint that is known for actually freeing demons.
Kshitigarbha is one of the 8 great bodhisattvas who is especially worshipped in China and Japan. Kshitigarbha was actually born as a woman, and her journey began through great compassion for her mother, who was reborn in one of the hell realms. So with her compassion, she kept praying and devoting to the Buddhas of her time, making offerings and dedicating the merit to her mother. And she was eventually able to liberate her mother from the hell realm. So she then vowed to liberate all other sentient beings, particularly from the hell realms. What's so magical and beautiful about Tantric Buddhism is that unlike other religions and traditions, there's actually compassion for these hell beings, and instead of fighting them or seeing them as enemies, there's prayer, there's rituals, and an attempt to free these beings from suffering. So they're not cast out as something that's other than the oneness of all that is. They're included in life, in unity consciousness. And so the bodhisattvas extend compassion to these beings.
In the more transgressive and taboo side of Tantra, we have the Chod practice, which is a Bun practice. It's slightly pre-Tantric Buddhism, but it actually entails a practitioner, a Chodpa, offering one's own body to demons and entities to feast on. And it's done as a ritual, a symbolic ritual, in charnel grounds and cemeteries. And this sounds really scary and kind of crazy that one would offer one's own body to demons or entities. It almost sounds demonic in and of itself, but it's actually a very powerful advanced practice in which someone is so detached from the illusory nature of this world, from attachments to the body, to anything material, and to really transcend the illusion that there's any permanence in this world. Most of us are not even able to fathom this level of extreme sacrifice, but what it can teach us is that we can also let go of our clinging to whatever it is that we're afraid to lose, whether it's our material belongings, our physical body, how we look, the people we're attached to. So really just learning that lesson of detachment, that the eternal spirit is indestructible, and all of this form, this world of forms, is nothing to be afraid of losing. Often when people do black magic rituals, they make offerings and things like that. So what you can do on your side is make offerings to whatever it is in your religious path, or whatever it is that that saint is associated with. And an offering could be something physical, it could be a plant, it could be some type of object, or it could just be your devotion. It could be your prayer, your mantra, your promise to give something positive through alchemizing your experience, so that there's an incentive for the beings to help you. In Tantric Buddhism, green Tara is very popular for protection. There's a lot of wrathful deities that are powerful for overcoming negative energies, demonic energies. And one thing I want to mention is, even if you're a skeptic, you're not that religious, you're not that spiritual, these things can function almost as a hypnotic device, as a mental device, because in the end, everything comes down to all is mind. We live in a mental universe. It is a dream projection that has physical form. So you are dreaming your experience. So whatever it takes for you to undream the nightmare, just use that as a tool to strengthen your mind. You really need to have a strong mind and a strong will. Remember that nothing can overcome your free will. They can only scare you into giving it up. They can only pressure you and continuously harass you into giving it up. Or they can just distract you or make you forget your power. So your power lies in your conviction, in your self-belief, in your strength. So this leads all to goal number 1, which is awareness. Awareness is the key to everything, and that's awareness of who you are. You are divinity in a human experience, and awareness of your personal power, that this is all you. Awareness of all is self-realization. It's all you in the end. And the third thing you can use is cleansing and purification. So I'm talking about physical cleansing. A lot of ancient traditions have used fasting as a sacrifice or an offering to the divine or to divine beings. Sort of like, I will give up this pleasure, kind of like how people do for Lent, or certain things that kind of are done as a ritual, as a sacrifice, is cleansing the body. It could be a fast, it could be anything from traditional fasts, like from religious traditions, to your own sort of creation. So you can decide even to just go on a juice fast, or fasting with herbs and tea. So these not only have a spiritual function, but a physical function, because spiritual entities are correlated to physical parasites. So very, very often, the gut is housing some type of parasite, some type of fungus, bacteria, worm, single-celled organisms that are feeding on you as a host. And when you cleanse, take certain herbs, certain, restrictions can starve these parasites, starve these entities of their negative food. Cleansing is a beautiful experience. It feels so good to cleanse, and most everyone notices that the mind gets quiet, the spirit gets quiet, and then again, this leads back to number 1, the master key, awareness. When you no longer have intrusions, distractions, and dark energies pulling your focus, you're able to sharpen your awareness of what's happening. I'm going to tell you guys a story to illustrate what I've been talking about in this video. When the Buddha took his post under the fig tree where he would become enlightened, it is said that the demon Mara appeared to him and attempted to tempt him with various distractions, various methods to get him to leave his post, to get him to forget about enlightenment. He said, "Oh, you are thin and you are pale, and you are in death's presence too. 1,000 parts are pledged to death, but life still holds one part of you. Live, sir. Life is the better way. You can gain merit if you live. Come, live the holy life, and pour libations on the holy fires, and thus a world of merit gain. What can you do by struggling now? The path of struggling too is rough, and difficult and hard to bear." And so the Buddha responded in his awareness and consciousness of Mara's hidden agenda. And so he says, "Your first squadron is sense desires. Your second is called boredom. Then hunger and thirst compose the third, and craving is the fourth in rank. The fifth is sloth and torpor, while cowardice lines up as sixth. Uncertainty is seventh. The eighth is malice paired with obstinacy, gain, honor, and renown besides, and ill-won notoriety, self-praise, and denigrating others. These are your squadrons, Nimuchi." And then the Buddha announced his readiness to give battle. "None but the brave will conquer them to gain bliss by the victory. Better I die in battle now than choose to live on in defeat. I sally forth to fight, that I may not be driven forth from my post. For I have faith and energy and wisdom. Your serried squadrons, which the world with all its gods cannot defeat, I shall now break with wisdom, as with a stone a clay pot." So with this awareness of Mara's cunning and deception and all of the delusions that he was offering, the Buddha was able to get rid of Mara and attain enlightenment. And so this story illustrates that the way that he won this battle was very much psychological. It was a mental battle. He did not get tempted to descend to Mara's level, to forget who he was, what his being was, what his intention was. He remained in abiding awareness. And what we can learn from this is that when we have any dark energies, demonic forces, or temptations, remaining in compassion, love, and awareness is the superpower that will force anything to flee, to dissipate, to disappear. So that is my advice for how to deal with black magic, evil eye, and demonic and psychic attacks. If you like the vibe of this video, consider subscribing for more content. And thank you for watching.